I'm doing a home inspection today on a house that's about 6 months old. For whatever reason, the people living here are selling the house, and I've been hired by the buyer to do the inspection. Thankfully, it is still covered under the builder's warranty because look how the builder left it for the current homeowner. Here's the gas meter, and this is a bonding wire coming out, and they did not seal around this. So they did seal around the gas entry here, but they didn't seal around this. But that's really not my biggest problem. My biggest problem is this bonding wire here hasn't been clamped to this pipe at all. Never got clamped at all. So this gas piping is supposed to be bonded to the home's grounding system via this electrode here. Needs to be done so to bare metal, and so some of this wrapping is going to have to come off, and that's going to need a clamp on it. One more thing, but this may or may not be the builder that left it this way. Here is your grounding wire here, and you can see this is the grounding rod. They've got the wrong clamp on it, and it has come completely loose, and so that's not doing anything. Unfortunately, I can't access the UFO ground that's inside the garage. I'm sure there is one there, but the current homeowner has things all piled up against that, and I can't get to it. So hopefully there is one there. We'll ask them to verify that as well. But yeah, this stuff needs to be fixed. Check this out. We got a gaping hole in the side of the house here. Big enough for just about anything to get in there. Rodents, insects, definitely moisture, air, and furthermore, we have exposed thermoply sheathing. Tell me that's not gonna soak up moisture. I'm doing a pre-drywall inspection today on a house that I did a pre-pour inspection on a couple of months ago. Now, some of the things that I called out in the pre-pour inspection that needed to be fixed prior to pouring the concrete didn't happen, and it irritates me. Let me show you what it is. One of the things I try to get them to do is make sure that there's proper backfill up against the form board so that we don't have concrete that comes out from underneath the form boards and gives us this blowout along here. Let me show you. They did not do that in these areas, and that's the reason why you have concrete that came out from underneath the form boards. This isn't so bad, but let me show you something else. This one here is pretty bad. You see we have a large amount of concrete that's come underneath the form boards, and now that's gonna be difficult. How are you gonna grow grass right there? It's gonna be a difficult situation to deal with. This continues all the way around the back side of the structure, and then we have more that looks like this back over here. This is all stuff that I called to be backfilled in the report. They did, however, come and chip away this area so they could properly run their utilities because that affected them. Now let me show you the one that really irritates me. In my report, in my pre-pour foundation report, I said you do not have electrical conduit run over to the kitchen island or the floor outlet in the living room. And they did not listen to me, and so now you can tell that they have jackhammered part of the foundation to run this trench and run this electrical over here and here. This could have been completely avoided. I think more than anything, it just makes me mad because it was a waste of my client's money for me to come out here and call these things out and them to ignore it. My God, it's hot out here. But I gotta show you something, check it out. These windows, nothing looks wrong with them, right? But if you look closely, you can see these faint lines right here. This is an indication of a failed thermal seal. Sometimes it focuses, there you go. Sometimes it doesn't. This one right here, same thing. Looks a little bit different. You see these lines going across this way. That is an indication of a failed thermal seal. And guess what? You can't see this from ground level. You got to get up on the roof to be able to see it. From ground level, they look just fine, perfectly normal. However, there are issues with these windows, and they will get worse, and they will look worse over time. Eventually, you will be able to see it from down there, but not when the home is under warranty, which it is right now. It's a good thing we caught it. You want to use these lead jacks for your plumbing vents? No problem. Just nail down the flange, caulk over the nails, and make sure to fold the upper part of the lead jack over into the vent. Now let me show you how not to do it. Don't leave the PVC sticking out of the top part and just caulk around it. Also, this isn't nailed down. Okay, one more over here. This one is nailed down, but as you can see, we just left the PVC sticking out of the lead jack and caulked around it. That is not how that's supposed to be done. And it will not last, and it will leak. Moisture intrusion is a big deal. Water damage costs a lot of money. Sometimes you got to look really close to find potential areas where water can get inside the property, especially on the roof. Check it out. Now this roof's pretty old. This vent stack is pretty old. You can see if you look closely that we have the boot starting to become damaged along the edge where it meets up with the PVC, and also looks like a squirrel's gotten after it and started chewing after it and made a small hole in it. Neither one of these things are going to get better without replacing that jack. But in all honesty, the roof probably needs to be replaced pretty soon. This can be sealed up with a little bit of caulking to kind of limp it through, but everything's kind of on its way out. But yeah, this issue right here is only going to get worse. Cougar paws, keeping me safe on this roof. Here's the furnace flue. It's in pretty rough shape. It's kind of ugly, but doing all right. We have a storm collar. Now, check out the water heater flue. No storm collar. I'm not walking that, not even cougar paws. But you can see from here, no storm collar. That's why I wasn't walking it. You can see this section is pretty steep. Section I'm on, kind of steep. That over there, just too steep to walk. Safely anyway. I try to walk as many roofs as possible, as much of the roof as possible, but there are some limitations. As a home inspector, I can already tell that there's problems down there. I notated a missing storm collar and a buckled vent boot. A roofer's got to get up there and take care of those things, so there's no sense in me going down there and calling out any other things. It already has to get looked at. In all honesty, this roof probably needs to get replaced anyway. It's very old. We got a sub panel in the garage. Once again, we got some grounding and bonding issues. Check it out. So we've got our sub panel, our secondary means of disconnect, and you can see that we have our neutrals right here and our neutrals right here. We do not have a bonding screw here. That's great, because if we did, that would be bonding them to the grounds, which are on a separate bus that is connected to the box and completely separate from the neutrals. The only problem I have is this wire right here, which is going outside to the grounding rod, is coming up and through this lug and intentionally run all the way up here to this lug, which is also connected to the service neutral. And so we have gone out of the way to separate these and not use the bonding screw, but intentionally put the neutrals and grounds together here in the sub panel, and that is incorrect. This house was built in the 70s before things were required to be safe. Check out some of the things I'm finding. Here's the air return, and we opened this up only to find there's no air filter. Oh, but wait. They have updated the HVAC system, so there is a media filter in the attic. Check it out. Dirty as all get out. And while we're up here, the furnace flue here. Well, the furnace, it doesn't work, but that's beside the point. The furnace flue here, you can see it needs an inch of clearance from combustible material. And I mean, I'll give it to you. We got almost an inch right here between this purlin. But then if you look a little bit closer, it's actually in contact with the roof decking back over there. Let's go back down. All right, back to this air return. You can see we have electrical wires running in the air chase here. This is not a common or good practice anymore. Guardrail is not looking good for several reasons. Number one, the balusters are more than 4 inches apart. We don't like that at all. And looks kind of short to me. Pretty steep fall. Let's measure it. Guardrail should be 36 inches, so we're going to measure to see if we're getting that. And we are not. We're getting about 33 inches, so definitely short. Then there's no GFCI in any of the bathrooms, as you can tell, and smoke detectors, I mean, who needs them, right? Safety third. Any electrical receptacle within 6 feet of a sink needs to be GFCI protected. Pretty close. I'm gonna have to measure it and see. Nope, that's definitely not 6 feet. And that's definitely not GFCI protected. As a matter of fact, it's wired in reverse polarity. Maybe they just thought it didn't matter if the faucet was inoperative in the first place. Walking around to the back side of this house, and I found this little breaker box. This is a secondary means of disconnect for something. So it is essentially a sub panel. These things are always loaded with issues, so let's open it up and see what we find. So inside this secondary means of disconnect, you can see grounds and neutrals mixed together. You can also see 2 neutrals and a ground under one lug, so we don't like that at all. But my biggest problem is this condition here. We have a double tap going on right here. This is incorrect and unsafe. Definitely needs some attention by an electrician. All right, so I was supposed to do this inspection a couple of weeks ago, and they called me out and said the house wasn't ready. And so at the last minute, I had to move the inspection almost 2 weeks out because the house wasn't ready. And so they now have me out here to do the inspection and check out what I'm finding. I guess they didn't think I would see this terribly installed siding over here. Look at all these exposed nails. We didn't caulk our joints properly, overdriven nails. They didn't bother sealing or painting over them. But I mean, that trend just continues. It continues over here, down here. Look up here. Look at all of this. All of these exposed nails, just terrible. Very unprofessional job. Look at this. Continues over here. But there's more. So we have this piece of damaged siding right here. And as if that wasn't enough, we got this screw. Where does this go to? I have no idea. It's just sticking out. And then we have this piece of damaged siding here. Look at this. I guess they didn't think I was going to notice this. Crazy. So while I'm over here, I can't not mention this random cut in not one but two of the lap boards over here on the side. Like, what is going on here? One more thing. So we have this piece of unpainted drip edge here, but also right here on the front of the house, underneath the siding, the underside of the siding did not get painted at all. Well, there's my siding inspection. Let's go see what else we can find.